Sure, Guru.
Okay, so quick recap. So what we have completed is in the Nectar of Devotion, we had finished till chapter 10, 11, like where the characteristics of pure devotion service, Shuddha Bhakti, then devotion service, then purity in devotion service, and 64 Angas. So from the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So the first stages of devotion service, the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and then followed by Raganuga Bhakti. So Raganuga Bhakti is where you have the Prema and the Bhava Bhakti coming in. Okay. So till Anartha Nivarti, it is all only Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, where you follow from the lowest to the Anartha Nivriti stage. Okay. From Sadhu Sangha to Bhajana Kriya till Anartha Nivriti, it is all only Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, where you follow the rules and regulations and get to attain the Raganuga Bhakti. So aim of the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is towards reaching the next stage of Bhakti, which is getting to Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, so again Raganuga Bhakti's goal is again from that there is another thing called as Ragatmika Bhakti, that is more towards pure unalloyed love, that is the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Okay, so that is the next level, that is Raga Atmika Bhakti. So from the stage where you have Sadhana Bhakti, then you get into Raganuga Bhakti, and then Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, so that is what we have seen in the initial stages, where definition of Bhakti, East West. So Samanya Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. So this Bhava and Prema is more towards Raganuga Bhakti. Till Sadhana Bhakti, it is all about Vaidhi Sadhana. Okay, Vaidhi Sadhana means following the rules and regulations. So chapter 13 and 14 specifically talks from that onwards, it talks about all about Raganuga Bhakti, and then where intermediate portion is something called as singularity in plurality and plurality in singularity, which is very important that we need to understand. Okay. So this I think we have seen this 64 angas, which in which 1 to 20 is primary sadhana bhakti, 44 are additional. The first 10 is pravritti marga, and then the next 10 is nivritti margam, that which we are not supposed to do. Okay. I think this portion is all we have covered. Yeah. So what is meant by, I think this portion also we have covered. So what is meant by singularity or plurality of Vaidasana Bhakti? Sadhana Bhakti can involve one or many processes. So generally when we say Ekanka or Anekanka, Anekanka means like all nine practices or the Navavida Bhakti combined together, or one you can focus and then get. So either way, it is plurality in singularity. Similarly, singularity in plurality, which means like you can focus on one particular thing. For example, when we say Lakshmi Devi, or when we say Prahlad Maharaj, so remembrance, Smaranam is always referred to as Prahlad Maharaj example. So in one way, it is focusing only on one particular way of worship, and other ways of worship will aid, or other ways of worship will help to increase that particular remembrance part. Okay, so that is how it is being understood. So singularity of this singularity. Singularity means identifying through one way that particular Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti at a upper stage. It doesn't mean that they don't have anything, though they still have other ways of performing bhakti, but still what is more specifically or with concentration identified is through the one particular way. Okay, so that is a singularity of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Then what is plurality? It is the other way. Okay. So what is the most important thing is the regulative principles by which it will be able to complete. Like for example, this plurality we all know. So plurality is through Ambrish Maharaj. So whatever be the angas, whatever be the ways, everything is channelized to one particular focused attention. Okay, so that is where it is called plurality of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So both ways are recommended, That is absolutely fine, our acharyas. So both ways has got its own advantage and disadvantage, but from a sadhana bhakti perspective, these both path or these both margams are being recommended by our acharyas. Okay, so individually like Hanuman, individually like Prahlad Maharaj, individually like Lakshmi Devi is also fine. At the same time, like Ambarish Maharaj, if you are able to get everything together, encompassed together, is also fine. Okay, so somehow or the other, this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti has to get into the motion. So this is all about 13 and 14 chapter. There's no specific question. Yeah, one question is all about how do you identify singularity of Vaidhi Sadhana. For example, if you are able to remember either one of them, like Prahlad Maharaj or Sukadeva Goswami or Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj is through hearing, Hanuman is through serving, through Dasya Bhav, and Arjuna is through Sakya Bhav. Like that, if you're able to identify or remember some of them, that is also fine. Okay, so from an examination question point of view, then Atma Nivedanam is Bali Maharaj. Okay, so like that, you can, if you're able to remember few of the names, then it should be okay. So this is question number 44. Spontaneous devotion service. So 15th chapter starts from that which is called as that which comes automatically. Okay, spontaneous means that comes. So both at the bhava stage and from bhava it goes to prema. Okay, bhava is nothing but by which you can easily see where it is a spontaneous emission that is coming out. So where it can be directly seen or where it can be directly understood is from the Brajvasis. Okay, so all other Krishna devotees or bhaktas, they will follow through Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. But if you are in Dwaraka or if you are specifically in Vrindavana, everybody in Vrindavana, everybody in Brajabhumi, they'll have that spontaneous bhava. Like, they'll say Lala, Lali, or Thakur. So it is like their own child or their own village boy. Okay, so that is why do you see the spontaneous attraction with an intense desire to love. Okay, so raga means spontaneous plus the intense love, intense desire of. Okay, so these three are combined together. So whenever there's a word raga coming in, spontaneous, intense desire of love. Okay. So that is where. So immediately after that, you have different levels or different ways by which you're able to identify into that bhava. Okay, one is sensual attraction, just by attraction through a particular way of getting attracted, and then through relationship. Okay, so typically sensual attraction is more from the gopis and the Dwaraka queens of Dwaraka. So that will get into more of something called as raga atmika. Okay, so our acharyas recommend either through relationship, where we call it as either through Vatsalya Bhav, or even Madhurya Bhav is also relationship, but that is more at the sensual level than being at the Sakya level or than being at the Vatsalya level. Okay, so our acharyas recommend from Raganu Bhakti aim towards Ragatmika, which is pure love, which is kind of greed, like, Krishna is mine. I have a separate relationship with Krishna. I will not let allow anybody else. So like something like where Krishna is your possession and you wanted to have it. Okay, so that pure love is called as the Ragatmika. Okay, so mostly from the Vrindavan, and in the next chapter you will talk about some portion from the Dwaraka Vasi or queens of Dwarka also. So that is again Sakya Bhav and Parakya Bhav. So that is again more in a direct relationship and in an indirect relationship. Okay, so the wives of Krishna had a direct relationship. They are officially the wives and they have a direct relationship. But however, topmost is much more thing is called the Parakya Bhav, or where in which you have a conjugal love with Krishna, and then that prema is much more sweeter to relish. Okay, why it is sweeter to relish? Because that which has got a direct attraction towards Krishna, and which is kind of more relishable compared to any other relationship way of establishing Krishna. Okay, so the Parakya Bhav is where there is no direct relationship, even though the word relationship is more at a material platform. The why the gopis are being so glorified is because of that bhava, or because of the prema, which is beyond any material way of seeing that as a relationship. So that is why it is not possible for us to contemplate, or it is not possible for us to see how it is being brought by the Vrajavasis, or specifically the gopis. We don't have to go into the very detailed understanding of how that particular thing is happening. Even Rupa Goswami is also mentioning, or Acharya is mentioning, all we have to see is just pray at the lotus feet of gopis and see that we also get that bhava and prema. That's all. Because from a typical Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we follow certain specific rules and regulations in which we ensure these things are to do. But beyond that, from a bhava stage, there's nothing called rules and regulations. It is direct attraction, sensual attraction between Krishna and myself. And how do I reciprocate that with Krishna? Okay. So please be very clear with what is sadhana bhakti, raganuga bhakti, and raga atmika bhakti. Okay. So from raganuga, aim towards raga atmika. So there are some specific understanding that we need to have. So what is the eligibility for spontaneous emission? So 16th chapter will talk about how do we understand this bhava and prema. Bhava and prema together are spontaneous. So what is the eligibility? At one stage, our anartha nivritti should be completely done, like where our anathas are completely disappeared, which means all our material contamination, all our material desires are fully done and we are completely liberated. Okay, so that is where we see that or that particular devotee is eligible for spontaneous devotional service. So wherever if somebody is saying what is the eligibility for spontaneous devotional service, anartha nivritti. So until anartha nivritti, it is not at all possible. So that is where we have to see. Anartha nivritti only gives a door or gives a way by which somebody can take up bhava and prema. But within that anartha, after that, there is a very specific caution where Rupa Goswami is mentioning something called as Siddha Pranali. Okay, Siddha Pranali is nothing but once you are at that bhava and aiming towards prema, because you don't follow rules and regulations, what will happen is certain kind of emotions that come out of you might lead us into a different kind of understanding, which anything and everything is kind of accepted, where it's not really happening or nearly authorized. So somebody will try to see and then try to say, oh, I'm also in the bhava stage. I'm also, so like that it will start practicing, and then that is called as Siddha Pranali. Siddha Pranali means, Siddha means in terms of the mind, in terms of the intelligence, but used completely in a wrong way. Okay, that process will lead to something called as the Prakata Sahajya. The word Sahajya, most of you will know, right? You might have heard about the word Sahajya, but most importantly, what Rupa Goswami is bringing out is called as the Prakrita Sahajya. Prakrita Sahajya means the mentality by which you feel like you are directly in relationship with Krishna and try to do all kind of nonsensical things, but it's actually against devotion service. It is not directly towards pleasing Krishna. Even though it might say, oh, Lala came in my dream, Lala asked me to bring this, Lala asked me to drink this, so I had this. So many things will start contemplating on the mind, but that may not really be the actual bhava or the love. They still have some anarthas left. They will still have some material desires. They will still have some things, but on top of it, they'll just put everything on top of it and say, yes, I'm at the bhava stage. Okay, so that is where we have to be very, very clear. So first portion of 15th chapter talks about the qualification. Second chapter is giving about a caution, like how we have to be very clear and cautious that we don't get into the mood of Sahajya or mood of Siddha Pranali. Third portion is very important in the chapter, which talks about the conjugal love, which is the Madhurya Prema. So within that Madhurya, again, that is divided into two categories. One is direct and indirect. So the gopis, the first one, the direct is all the queens of Dwarka. So all the 16,108 queens exhibited the direct conjugal love with Krishna. So Krishna also reciprocated with them by establishing different palaces, and he himself expanding into 108 Krishna, and then providing them that whatever the prema or the conjugal love that is required for them, Krishna gave that pleasure. Okay, so that is direct one. The second one is called the indirect one, which means it is not directly from a material angle or from a perspective. It is not direct, but still that the Parakya Bhava. The Parakya Bhava is more sweeter than any other Bhava. Okay, so all the other things will have that sweetness, but which is most sweetest is called the the Parakya. So this is one. And Super Kosman is also mentioning something called as Keli. Okay? We call it as Keli Vilas. Then if you go to any of the Vrindavan pastimes, if you are in different locations in the 12 forest, they'll say Krishna played this Keli, Krishna played this game, this kind of pastime here. Okay, so Keli is something like technique called in relationship with Krishna and performing certain nice pastimes. Okay, for example, if you are in Madhuban, they will say it is wonderfully Krishna did certain specific pastimes. If you are in near Radha Kund, there is a Kusum Sarovar. There he played certain specific things. So like that, even in Vrindavan town itself, every night he plays this Keli Vilas. Okay, so that is the word Keli is also very important. At least from our understanding perspective, we need to understand what is meant by Keli. Okay, Vilas is the location or the place, and Keli is nothing but the sweet pastimes or the conjugal love pastimes that Krishna does. So depending upon the season, depending upon the weather also, they'll change different names and they will. Okay. So one is the conjugal love directly husband wife is direct, and then the indirect one is this one. That is one. The second portion of that on the love is directly we know the Vatsalya Bhav and the Sakya Bhav. Okay. So this 15, 16 chapter talks about these three categories. One is what is the eligibility of spontaneous love, number one. Number two, cautious understanding of what is the Siddha Pranali or Sahajya mood. Third one is the conjugal love divided into direct and indirect. Under direct is Queens of Dwaraka, indirect is the Gopis. And again, the love is where in which you have the Vatsalya Prema and the Sakya Prema also. So everything is in love with Krishna. This is about 16th chapter. So spontaneous devotion, little more understanding. So questions: what is meant by Anartha-nivritti? What is meant by Prakata Sahajya? How do you understand direct and indirect conjugal love? And how the two classifications are made? Give some examples of relationship with Krishna. So like there are some 3-4 questions you just need to understand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Small question, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, this 5 primary rasas, so this neutrality, the Shanta rasa, is typically also mentioned as passive, whereas all other 4 are mentioned as active. So what is this active and passive
So passive is
rasa?
something when you start, when you're getting into Anartha-nivritti, actually Shanta Ras will start from the beginning itself. That is like, it's a common, like for example, how Maharaj and all say, it's a common flavor or a common layer across all the other layers. For example, I don't know how to put it. For example, if you're doing some particular recipe, in one of Maharaj in one of the lectures, he told very nicely in one of the in sandwich making or whatever making, there is one thing which will come with every other platform. So they will just add, for example, I don't know, in any of the cooking, they will add that particular flavor to anything and everything. So that is the common flavor that will be added to every rasa. So Shanta Ras will be automatically there as the foundation for Madhurya or foundation for Sakya or foundation for Vatsalya, whatever be it, at a relationship level where Shanta Ras is very passive because it will automatically come. It does not need to be exhibited outside, or it need not be specifically identified or mentioned outside. It will be automatic. It's more at a very peace where you have when you start having that love relationship, you are at very peaceful stage. And on top of it, you start loving that person. How you're living with that person is the next category, where it can be as a friend or as a lover or as a son. So whatever be it will come the next one. So love at the first stage where you feel like, yes, I have a very nice relationship with that particular person, that is called a Shanta Ras. So it will come automatically when you start slowly building, even in the so-called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, it will start coming. Okay? So it will start coming, but because it cannot be directly seen or directly exhibited outside, that is kind of a thin line which will be helpful when you get into the next one. So that is why it is called as passive. At the same time, that passiveness is also definitely required, because that will help as foundation for the other process.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So chapter 17, 18 talks specifically on Bhavavat. Okay? Very nice subject, nice this one. So what is the What is the symptom of pure love is the ecstasy. So how do you define ecstasy? It's very simple. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Puri Jagannath in the Rath, he exhibited 8 types of ecstasy, like Nainam Gala Dashu Dharya, like all kind of tears coming out, Polakir Vichitamba Pogada, your hair standing on the tip. So then your mouth getting blabbering, and then you get all kind of things. So all kind of bodily exhibits is one kind of ecstasy. The other kind of ecstasy is internally you will feel like you are very happy. So from the bhava stage, it is all whenever you go to temple, whenever you see Jagannath, or whenever you hear about pastimes, like for example Pundarik Vidyanidhi, we know the wonderful pastime in Pundarik Vidyanidhi when he was Stanakala Kutam, when he was listening to Krishna's pastime where he gave the motherhood, the title of motherhood to who?
Putana.
So immediately he became madman, like how politicians do in the parliament. Immediately he became so mad, he just started tearing this, he's throwing paper, this and all. So outwardly it might look like what is this, but actually he's into that wonderful mood. So that is the ecstasy. So ecstasy can be for each and there is nothing called ecstasy means the kind of a very defined way of ecstasy for each and everybody will vary. So what is the first symptom of is ecstasy of bhavati. And then again it is divided into 9 ways by which we are able to see that we are into the bhava. Okay, for example, virakti, the number 3. So the more and more you get detached from material world, then you are progressing towards bhava. There's nothing called you're already in bhakti. So bhava bhakti is something very progressively achieved, not like you have achieved at one particular stage. It's a progressive growth, and then finally only you get into the prema. Okay? Then for example, this nama gana sadaruchi, nama gane sadaruchi means like for how when Haridas Thakur said you stop, when Mahaprabhu said you're already getting old, you stop chanting. Then Haridas Thakur said, I can't do anything except chanting. So that is called Nama Gane Sadaruchi, which means every time you recite, you tell Krishna's name, you get the ruchi. Okay. So like that, there is a specific 9 this ones. Okay. So Varakti means completely you don't have to really worry about what is happening in this material world, whether budget given, budget not given, then there is happening, that happening. So whether Chinese New Year coming, Chinese not. So whatever be it, you are completely detached from whatever sense gratification related items. Okay. So like this, there are some 9 items. Okay. First is Shanti that you can understand. Avyakta Kalatvam, which means Avyartha Kalatvam. Kalatvam means the time. Okay. So the time is very important. So they will see that they are engaged in Krishna service 24/7. This is I think in Bhagavatam there is one particular sloka in which Brahma is when he saw Krishna and Krishna gave him the knowledge of Brahma when he saw the first the Mahatattva portion, and then when he saw Vishnu, he started meditating. Okay, but after some time when it is about for annihilation, even Brahma got little bewildered or he got. But when he went for sleep, what Prabhupada is mentioning is when Brahma was sleeping, even in his sleep he was thinking about Krishna. So why are we glorifying Brahma? Why are we glorifying various other wonderful devotees? Even in your sleep, if you are able to think of Krishna, that is Avyartha Kalavartam. So which means like you are 24/7 Krishna conscious. Okay. Virakti I have already mentioned. Manashunyata. Manashunyata means mana is already full of all kind of anarthas, all kind of indriyartebhya. So if you become shunya means zero, which means you don't have to get into any kind of material tinge. Okay. So feel free, just accept anything for Krishna. Just feel free to take Krishna consciousness like openly. Okay, don't have any kind of inhibition, don't kind of walls, any kind of firewall, nothing. They just shunyata. Okay, sometimes sarala they called in Sanskrit or in Hindi or in other language. Sarala means very innocent. Just be very innocent, just accept it. Then that is bhava bhakti. So when you go for a day, when you do devotion service, you go for some kind of seva, your heart should be manashunyata. Otherwise, when you do any kind of deity worship or deity seva, deity dressing, you will have a lot of competition in your mind or heart going on. Oh, this is nice. This I have to put that way. This no, somebody is saying this. Should I do this? Should I? So, but if your heart is very shunyata, then it will accept whatever be it. Okay? That is what is mana shunyata. Ashabandha that we can so. Ashabandha is always that the hope that Krishna will save. Intense eagerness, samutkanta. Samutkanta is eagerness. Nama Ganeruchi, we have seen. Asakti tad gunatmani. Asakti. So one is virakti, another is asakti, which means one is detachment towards material, virakti, and the other is eagerness. This is again attachment towards Krishna. Whatever be it, whatever qualities, whatever thing this is number 3 and number 8 is kind of opposite. Okay. Apura priti tad vasati stale. Vasati stale. Vasati stale means stalam. Stalam means location or place. Priti. So you have to create that intense desire that somehow or other I'm attached towards a place where it is all the mood of Vrindavan. Either it is being at Gauranga Center or Mayapur or Vrindavan or Puri, wherever it is, the desire to live in that particular thought. So these are all some of the Preeti Lakshanas. Preeti Lakshanas means the qualities by which we are able to see that that particular devotion is moving towards Bhava. Okay. So these are all from a knowledge and understanding perspective, but from an examination point of view, don't worry. I will not ask you about the name and all.
Gas, Gas.
Prabhuji, I had 2 questions.
Yes, Madhu.
So my first question was, sometimes when we go to a holy place, when we visit a temple, you sometimes see the deity, or you feel you feel a certain degree of emotions. Not that each time it happens, but sometimes it does. Is that a bhava, or is that just a human experience you're having, and therefore it feels a bit overwhelming? Because it's not consistent.
Yeah, that's okay. It's if it's very sincere and it is coming emotion, it is absolutely fine. It is kind of a bhava only. Okay. It is absolutely bhava only. But how long it prolongs, how long it continues is determines your bhava stage.
The other thing is, when sometimes you like, for example, okay, just to give my example, I was looking at something that was happening in ISKCON Vrindavan in the Instagram, and a devotee was speaking, and then you feel this feeling of, oh, this devotee is getting to do it. Why am I not getting to do it? But it's a very like a human emotion you're feeling in terms of, but it's not a very positive human emotion that you're feeling. Then how do you overcome it?
Generally, because when others exhibit emotion, generally in ISKCON, generally they don't exhibit that much of emotion. It is like it is not prescribed by acharyas, even though they have this one. But if at all that particular devotee or senior person is exhibiting devotion, all we have to do is, yes, I'm not having it. Number 1, number 2, they are having it. So that portion will definitely come. But at least what at that particular stage is we have to pray intensely that I have to also get that. I have to also get that feeling. I also have to ensure that I'm. So what is that I have to do? What is that qualification that I'm lacking? So like that, if you pray at that moment to Krishna, Krishna will definitely help. For example, typically when somebody talks about various wonderful pastimes of Krishna or wonderful Dham Leelas, we should cultivate that mood by which we say, okay, one day or other I have to go to that place. So that is where Krishna sees our longing desire. So it is okay. I mean, it will happen. But at least at that moment, if you pray to Krishna that no, I also want to get that, that is absolutely fine. So that is where that Ashakti Sadgunatmani, which means that the intense desire, if you start having it, it is absolutely fine. No problem. Okay, let's see. No doubt. Okay. So how to attain Bhava Bhakti? As I mentioned, one is through sadhana, other is through mercy. Okay. So sometimes we will say the rules and regulations we follow, we do everything, and then somebody for others, suddenly it will come just like that. Okay. Which means the mercy of Krishna, mercy of Acharyas will flow to them directly. So in either way, these two are possible, or to combine is also possible. Okay. But Rupa Goswami is mentioning this for us to understand. These two is also definitely required to get very nice bhava. So through sadhana also, you will be able to get bhava. But sadhana plus mercy is much more easier. Sometimes directly also, if somebody who is not able to follow certain sadhana, this one, but just by mercy of Krishna, right? No, it will happen to them just like that also. So we don't know. Okay, so we might just think, oh, I just did for so many years, but this particular person didn't. So it means it is Krishna's will. It means Krishna's desire that he wants to give that mercy, and then that particular Jivatma is getting that bhava immediately also. So either way, both sadhana and elevation, like either through mercy or through sadhana, it is possible. So this is the one that we just saw. English name, okay, utilization of time, perseverance, detachment, pridelessness, hope. So these are the names in which you have seen, and some of the examples. Okay, for example, Bilomangal Thakur mentioned about it. Lal Babu, this Prabhupada is mentioning, very nice. If you read through Vrindavan pastimes, there is one temple, Lal Babu temple.
Lala Babu, Lala Babu ka mandir.
Lala Babu. Very nice, very big mandir. He came from, I think, Bengal or Uttar Pradesh. Old person. He came, and one day, you know the story, Mataji. One day he was walking.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Once he was going through Mother Yamuna, he was walking through the banks of Jamuna, and he was hearing some ladies talking to each other. They were telling, "Jaldi karo, do it fast, don't waste your time, don't waste your time." And this Lala Babu, he got this as the message for him. Personally by the Lord himself, like that he took, and he said, "Okay, there's no time now." So he started chanting, and he started building a temple. So he himself built a temple. So the temple is known as Lala Babu Ka Mandir, something like that, Prabhuji. You can elaborate, Prabhuji.
Yeah, no, that's understand. That's correct. So they were trying to cross Yamuna, or the sunset was going to happen. Some washermen people, they were trying to wash the clothes, and they were about to take. So at that time he was about to cross the Yamuna or something, where they were discussing. So somebody was mentioning, "Samay ho raha hai, matlab sunset is going to happen, and you are still doing it. You will never be able to cross the river." So like that, sentimentally they were mentioning, which means samsara sagara, like which means when you have to cross the ocean, we don't have time. So like that, he got that instinct that he came from a very big zamindar family or landlord or something. So then immediately he thought, why am I wasting time in just doing all this wealth procurement and all? So immediately he stopped everything, and then he came to, he was in Vrindavana. He said, okay, I'll stay in Vrindavana, and then he built a very nice temple. So that's why this is prema. This is like mercy suddenly coming. So for some it might happen just like that, for some it has to follow through. So which means immediately you have to leave that prideless. You have to leave that pride. Even though he was a very big person, immediately he left that. There are some specific nice examples. We just have to understand.
But Prabhuji, for him to immediately leave, he must have been very ready to leave.
Correct.
Like if something comes to me, I don't think I'll be ready to leave. So he must.
Yeah. It doesn't happen to everybody. His sukriti is very more, almost tip, like his sukriti is 100%. So just a few more birth or something. So immediately it got feeling. So for example, I still remember this past time where our Loknath Swami Maharaj, he was about to get married. All that kund, he was about, the Yajna Kunda was there, the lady was there, everything is happening. Okay. And Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. This Yajna was happening somewhere. And then somebody came and told Prabhupada, no, Loknath Maharaj, he's going to get married. Then you tell him if he wants to get sannyas, he can come and. So immediately from there, he came and took sannyas. Okay. So it happens. So we don't know. There are nice pastimes like that. Let's keep going. So from chapter 19, from bhava, it moves to prema. Okay? So prema is, again, as I mentioned, can be achieved through bhavota. From two perspectives. One is through mercy and through association, or through sadhana. Okay, so this is what it talks about. Understanding. Okay, I'll give you about what is the difference between these two. One is bhava bhavotva and prasadotva. Okay, so what is bhava bhavotva is ecstasy that comes from bhava to prema, and then mercy to prema. So either way, sadhana bhakti, and from sadhana to bhava, and then bhava to prema, or directly Lord's mercy, prasadotva. Okay, prasada means we know mercy. Okay, so mercy. directly coming from Krishna. So either way this can be built, but what is the channel or way? These two ways. Okay, one is through bhava. Bhava will come only when you do sadhana. So sadhana, bhava, and then prema, or directly from prema, from mercy to prema. Okay, that is called as bhava, bhavottamam or prasadottamam. These two definitions we need to understand. Okay? So how does that will come is association with pure devotees. So whenever there is mercy flowing from Krishna, it is all directly through Krishna's wonderful devotees. Okay? So that he is giving that specific mention. He's giving some specific examples also. Okay, Padma Puran, there's a specific nice pastime called as Chandrakanti pastime, where she wanted to have Krishna as her husband. So these are all some of the examples it is being mentioned. But for our understanding, what we just need to say is what is meant by Bhava Bhakti, and from Bhava Bhakti through association, through Bhavottamam, we can get into Prema, or through Prasadottamam. Prasadottamam is nothing but through the mercy, then it can get into Prema. These two. So what is the conclusion of this particular chapter is it will specifically mention only fortunate people. It is not that everybody will get So even in Manishanam Shastri, like even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is mentioning everybody will try to understand, but only few of them will get that prema, right? So that is where it is already mentioned. So even if everybody are following certain sadhana, only few of them will get that bhava, and then within that bhava, only few of them will get the prema portion. So one is through profound veneration of the greatness. So when you do sadhana bhakti, then you get to understand the greatness of Krishna, and then you get that bhava, and then other one is directly like like how we saw about this particular devotee. Automatically you'll get attracted. So either way it is fine. So both are absolutely fine. But all we have to do is just pray, and we get somehow other gift. Okay. How do we get that? So Rupa Goswami is mentioning one particular section focusing only on association with pure devotees. So whenever we get an opportunity to serve Vaishnavas, serve devotees, outwardly we may not know. They might be like normal people, either sannyasis or acharyas. We need to see that we always serve them and then get that prema. How do we get prema is again one way of understanding is it may not come only after, it might come along with you. It is like when you're going in a train, you are performing certain sadhana, it will always be working towards that sadhana, following certain rules and regulations. But that prema and bhava will slowly start coming. We may not know. But at some point of the time, it will get matured. It is not that only after certain periods, after years, it will get, you will get that. No, it will slowly get, and then it will be fully fructified or fully matured or fully blossomed after a period of time. Okay, so that is how we need to understand. And then in chapter 19, specifically, one question is about how do we understand, or how do we understand the prema bhakti into different categories. So from this onwards, I think Anandacharya asked about different other categories of east, instead of east wave, west, north, south wave, and all. So what is that? It will all talk specifically about directly about very detailed this jnana yukta prema, kevala prema, and within that prema, the secondary rasas, how it is getting defined, how it is being brought up. So all those things will be led. But from this chapter, 19th chapter, he is specifically focusing on Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning about two types of prema. One is called Kevala prema and Mahim Jnana Yukta prema. Mahim Jnana Yukta prema means, Yukta means that Vairagyam, the perseverance or determinants. So how? Through getting through knowledge, getting through that particular sadhana bhakti, through that particular way of knowledge acquiring, you get that understanding by which you'll be able to exhibit that love and affection. So that is love mixed with knowledge. Okay, we say prema mishra bhakti, whatever we call it, but prema with jnana. So somewhere or other we get the knowledge and then we exhibit that love to Krishna. Other one is unalloyed love. Unalloyed love means which is very pure. So which means that was directly exhibited by all the gopis. So if you ask about Krishna, how this all the siddhi, all this thing, they will never know what is about Krishna. They don't know. But all they know is they love Krishna. But when we are there, we will say Krishna did this, Krishna did that, Krishna has got 64 qualities. We'll go very technically about knowing Krishna. He is one of these avatari. From avatarim he comes. So we'll talk all about Krishna's other things. But whether there is love there, that is the question mark. Okay, so that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions about one is unalloyed, which is pure, like 100% pure gold. Other one is mixed gold, which will have some kind of contamination. Contamination, this is knowledge contamination, which is also okay. But both categories will lead towards Prema Bhakti. So the goal of Raganuga Bhakti Sadhana is Kevala Prema. Okay. Our acharyas always say at some point of the time, leave out all these things, just focus on getting unalloyed Krishna Bhakti. Okay. And Prabhupada also gives a very detailed understanding about all kind of muktis. We have already seen in detail about the different kinds of muktis, right? Sarubhya, Salubhya, Shastri, Samipti. So all those muktis also, but all those muktis, it will automatically come, and we don't really have to worry about what and how to do that mukti part. So it will automatically come. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and Rupa Goswami's teaching and our acharyas, Goswamis, Prabhupada, everybody is more from a Kevala Bhakti. Okay. Kevala Ananda Prema. Okay. So Kevala Ananda Prema is just pure unalloyed devotion service. Other things are all, we don't say no, but we say it may not be able to fully get into them. So that is why we say Kevala Prema is much more sweeter, much more nice for us to relish. Okay, so question will be, how do you understand what is the difference between Kevala Prema and Mahim Jnana Prema, Jnana Yukta Prema? You just have to mention unalloyed, which is pure, which is like no inhibitions, no previous qualification, nothing. There's nothing to be done. It is just pure unalloyed devotion. So, in conclusion, we have seen Raganuga Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti, moving to Raganuga Bhaktis, from Raganuga Bhakti, this Bhava, and directly from mercy also we get this Prema. So, Prema Bhakti through Bhava and mercy, through both the kinds. So, Bhava and this one requires association of pure devotees. Mercy also will require pure association of pure devotees. Both the ways, we need association of pure devotees. There are two types of Prema Bhakti. One is Mahatmya Jnana Prema or Mahima, whatever be it, Jnana Prema Bhakti and Kevala Prema. So Kevala Prema Bhakti, it might directly come from Ragana Bhakti, and then at some point of the time, you will just get that pure unalloyed devotion. Or through Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, you get that bhava, and then get all the knowledge, and then you will get into this. So whatever be it, in which you will see is to get this Prema Bhakti, unalloyed, pure devotion service. And then the last portion is all about this Navavidha Bhakti. Sorry, the stages, the Bhakti ladder. Okay, Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana, Kriya, Anatanivutti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. So this is just one question. It will just mention about how do you understand the 9 stages. We just have to mention. So one should not try to elevate artificially to Prema Bhakti without seriously following. So Prabhupada giving some, Prabhupada even Rupa Goswami is mentioning, don't try to do anything artificially. We have to seriously follow Sadhana Bhakti, then you will be able to. So Prema Bhakti is stage of relishing. Prema Bhakti is not like you achieve something. It is like stage in which you will continuously feel that relishing factor. Okay. And Sadhana Bhakti or things where you start focusing on, like we say, continuous improvement process. In a corporate world, we always say you achieve one particular platform or one particular stage, then it's a continuous improvement. You have to keep on improving. There is a 7 steps of continuous improvement, some way or the other, by which you say you have achieved certain sadhana practice, but you have to keep on improving on that particular sadhana. There's nothing called, oh, sadhana is complete. Okay, so that is called as improvement in devotional service. But stage of relishing is where you will be able to continuously have that full happiness. Mahaprabhu is the example. So I think we have already seen. So and there are other much more detailed understanding. For example, Prema Bhakti. This will get into much more detailing when we get into the other waves, like Rati, Prema, Sneha, Mana, Pranaya. These are all Bhava, Mahabhava. So these are all at the Prema Bhakti stage, much more detailed understanding. Okay. So these things will cover in the next portion of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, but our portion is focusing only on what is meant by Prema Bhakti and how do we achieve it, or the two types of Prema Bhakti. Yeah, this is called this is what I wanted to mention. So, what are the other portions we'll cover? This is called as Satvika Bhava, Vibhachari Bhava, Sthayi Bhava, Vibhava, Anubhava. These are all some of the Bhava Bhakti stages and further divisions. So these are all will be covered in the part of other portions. Okay. So our scope is understanding of Prema Bhakti. What are the types of Prema Bhakti? How do we achieve that Prema Bhakti? Bhava Bhakti is also same. How do we understand it? What is the direct and indirect understanding of Bhava Bhakti? How do we achieve Bhava Bhakti? So there will not be any specific questions on what are the different categories of Bhava Bhakti, different categories of Vishnu, but this is again just for an understanding. Till 19th chapter, this is the scope. Afterwards, if Krishna permits, maybe later on we can get into the other portions of Bhakti. So just a summary, what is Bhava Bhakti, what is Prema Bhakti, we have seen. Prema Bhakti is of two types. One is through Kevala Prema and Jnana Prema, Mahatmya Jnana Prema. And Bhava Bhakti will achieve through sadhana and mercy. Okay. In Bhava Bhakti, specific wonderful 9 characteristics. And what is the first symptom? The first symptom is more of the ecstasy. Okay. So if you are able to remember the Sanskrit word, it is okay. But at least from an English word, this is the English words. Okay. Pridelessness, detachment, attachment, eagerness, attraction to live in pastime, live in the holy dham. So these are all the English words. But if you're able to read through, understand through the Sanskrit word, that is also spontaneous devotion service we have seen, plurality and singularity. So this is the next portion of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So initial portions, first 1 to 10 portion we have seen, 1 to 110 chapters. Again from 11 to 19th we have covered. Okay.
Prabhuji, 10th to 19.
Yeah, 10 to 19. Sorry. Okay. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Rupa Goswami ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnava ki jai.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Dandavat Karma.
So